This is my mom. Her name is Erie Wilson.
Hello.
And I'm going to be doing an interview with her based on what I've learned in child development. So, I guess to get started, we'll ask the first question. Could you describe my birth?
Well, your birth was a C-section.
Mm-hmm.
It was an emergency C-section because I decided I would go swimming. When I was told, don't go swimming because it can make you go in labor. Well, I went swimming and I went in labor expeditiously. I got up to 8 centimeters as I was having a planned C-section with her and her twin because one was breech. But I ended up having an emergency C-section because they were coming and I messed up.
It's good.
You can keep going.
Okay. and I had back labor, which I've never had ever in my entire life. But I had back labor, and the doctors did not believe that I was in labor because my back was hurting and not my stomach. So then by the time they was about to send me home, I was already 8 centimeters, and they did an emergency C-section.
Gotcha. What did you crave when you were pregnant with us?
Oh, that's easy. Cereal and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And as of now, I do not eat cereal. I do not eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I did not crave them. I only craved them when I was pregnant with my twins.
Okay, so out of the 4 attachment styles, what type of attachment did I have as a baby?
I believe you had the anxious attachment. You was a Velcro baby. You was nice in your own way to some people. Like you would let them hold you approximately maybe 30 minutes. He dealt with them for a good 30 minutes. And it was like, give me my mommy. That's just how it was. And it was just multiple people. I'd be like, here, she'll play with you. You was just like, no, give me my mommy. Like, and so I was like, all right, give my baby. Let's go. Like, just give my baby. I think as you grown older, you became a secure, because of the fact that as you got older, you're still a Velcro baby, but you learn how to do things on your own. You learn how to be your own person. Mm-hmm. You learn that, okay, mommy's gonna be there, but mommy's not gonna always be there. And sometimes you have to do things on your own. And then I feel like that is, and I helped you get to that point to learn that. And I feel like that's something that you needed to learn. Even with your sister, you needed to learn how to be your own person. And yes, you was attached to your sister, to her head. You and your sister was always attached. So I feel like, excuse me, I feel like you had to learn how to be your own person.
Okay, so what was my temperament as a baby?
So your temperament as a baby, you was
rowdy, calm.
You was a crybaby. But you was crying because you didn't want nobody to bother you but your mama. As you got, so I would say as a baby, yeah, you was a crybaby. Until I came and got you. You didn't cry no more. You did laugh a lot. Like you would laugh. You wouldn't laugh at nobody else. Like it was just me and your dad. That was it. Anybody else, you just look at them like, who are you and what are you doing here? Like you just didn't want to, and even if it was people that you would be around often, you still just wouldn't laugh. You just look at them. And I was like, okay, give me her, let me show you she can laugh. So you would laugh then, but as far as like, you just was a regular baby. Yes, you did cry a lot because you wanted your mama. You was a Velcro baby. But as far as like when you start hitting that toddler stage, that was different. Because when you got, I put you in your walker, you was gone. Like you was all over the place. You was all over the house.
The next question is, were you ever worried about SIDS? And what were some precautions that you took to ease your mind off of your worry about SIDS?
So with me, I was never worried about SIDS. I knew about it. So back in my days, we knew about it, but I wasn't worried about it because did I sleep with my children? Yes, I did. But I'm a very, very light sleeper. So if I was a heavy sleeper, no, y'all had a crib. You had your own crib. Y'all would sleep in your crib. Or if I was drinking. If I was drinking, you're sleeping in your crib because you're not sleeping in the bed with me like
Mhm.
that. And I didn't want to risk any of me like rolling over on you. And y'all always had a bedtime. Like y'all's bedtime when y'all was a baby was like 7 o'clock. So y'all always was put down at a certain time. So, you know, if I wanted to just enjoy myself and, you know, have a little fun, then I would put you in your crib.
Mhm.
But if I knew that I was not doing any of that, then yes, you slept with me.
So I'm talking about like the ages of like 0 to maybe like 6 months, like where the risk of SIDS is like very high. For that time we like slept through the night as babies.
No, you didn't. And I had I had help. Like I had your Aunt Sylvia. I had your cousins. I had help.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really have to sleep with you in the bed with me. Like I would get y'all ready, and then we'll be sitting downstairs, and I'll rock y'all to sleep, or I'll put you in your swing, you go to sleep, and I'll put you in your crib.
Gosh.
Like you would still wake up, and that's the normal baby thing. You would wake up, you know, for your bottle and stuff, and I was always gonna get up because I'm still a light sleeper to this day. I've always been a light sleeper, so. Like I didn't worry about that because I took a lot of precautions to avoid that, and getting a crib was one of those precautions.
What's some other precautions?
I didn't have any pillows in y'all's crib. There was absolutely no pillows in your crib. Because I knew about it. So I made sure that there was no pillows. I also had a camera in y'all's room. Y'all also had the cameras. So I had a camera in y'all's room, in my room. Also downstairs, like I had cameras.
Oh, I do want to bring up this way of preventing SIDS. It's like a new technology way that I see some new parents do. It's a really expensive sock. I think it's called an Owlet sock, and you could actually monitor the baby's breathing, the baby's heartbeat with this sock. Like if they had that back when my mother, when we were babies, I know that would be really easier for them too.
But there was also a thing that like. If you lay the baby on his side, you can put the baby in between these two little cushion things. Y'all had that. Y'all did have the little things where you place the baby in so the babies don't roll all over the place. Y'all did have that.
Oh, wow. My next question is, what are the different physical traits that I got from you, and what are the different physical traits that I got from my dad?
So, I think that, let me look at you. I think that you have your dad's nose. I think you have my lips. I think you have my eyes. I think you have, when it comes to the body, I think you have both of us put together. As far as the hair, I think you have both of us put together. Cause like, even though like, you know, both of us, me and her dad has thick hair. Even though mine is in a ponytail, it's down my back. But I feel like I have thick hair just like her dad has thick hair.
But I do feel like my hair is
your
a little thicker than my
eyebrows
mom's.
came from your dad because I don't have any eyebrows. So that came from her dad. Yeah, I seen it.
All right, so for my next question, it's a theory, well, it's an experiment that Bandura did, and it's Bandura's Bobo Beatdown experiment. And he proved in that experiment that kids can learn behavior from mere observation. So do you believe that we were influenced by observing you in any way? And name one positive way that we were influenced, and name one negative way that we were influenced.
Well, I believe that I influenced you guys with my work ethic. Your whole life, you've seen me work just to take care of you. And I feel like that you grew an awesome work ethic from that.
Thank you.
Now, a down one would be Bobo Beatdown. Because I taught you, do not let nobody bully you, and do not let nobody put their hands on you. And I meant that, and I stand by that. And I'm gonna always stand by that.
I wouldn't say that's negative than self defense, because you didn't teach us to be the offender.
I didn't. No, well, I didn't. I taught you to fight back. And no, I did not teach you to be a bully. But at the same time, as you was growing up, it was just like, you know, hearing the principal say, well, you shouldn't have taught them to defend themselves. And I said, well, who's going to defend them if I'm not there? besides themselves. You see?
I see
So
what you're
in
saying.
society, it might have looked bad. In my eyes, I was teaching my kids how to defend themselves and how to not let anybody bully them.
Gotcha. I see. Like for society, that would be considered a negative because society always thinks violence is not the answer.
No, they say turn the other cheek so somebody can knock you out.
I'm sorry, y'all.
I'm just saying.
We're gonna go to the next question. For my next question, and now I'm gonna mention a different theorist, B.F. Skinner. So B.F. Skinner believed that behaviors were strengthened and weakened by reinforcement. So, what reinforcement tactics did you use to influence us to present acceptable behavior, such as behaving correctly as a child?
Well, I did put y'all on punishment. I took things from y'all. I spanked you, but you was one of the kids who really didn't have to have a spanking because you seemed too old to get it. So you learned from them too. But I would take stuff from you, and then you would get it back as you proceeded to do what you were supposed to do. Your restriction, I would put you on restriction, like, you got to stay in your room until you do what you're supposed to do. That was kind of it. I don't ever believe in kids going to bed not hungry. Kids going to bed hungry. I don't believe in all that. I feel like there's other things to do besides
or like shaving your kid's head.
Like, I just think that's evil. To me, it is. As a parent, there's other things you can do and other ways you can help. You can sit down and talk to your child and see what's going on, or get help or get counseling for your child. But shaving a child's head is a big no-no.
And yeah, I would say my mom, like, as a kid, I would get mad because I'm like, wow, I got this long lecture. Like, she would speak to us about, like, for an hour or two about why what we did was bad. She explained to us, like how it makes us be as a person, like, how it affects us as a person, how it affects other people. Like, she explained it for a long time, but
I love lectures.
Yes,
it was
still good.
But I grew up on lectures, so my dad would sit me down and talk to me for ages, and I would literally be like, I don't ever want to go through this talk again. So, yes, I sit my kids down and I'll talk to them for ages, and they're just like, can I please get up? You know what?
I learned my lesson.
I'd rather just, you could have just cut my tail at this point, but I'm just like, no, come on and let's finish talking.
No,
like,
you gotta know why you did was wrong, like why it was wrong.
Yep.
Basically. Yep. Well, scaffolding is a method that when someone older gives someone younger, like their child, enough support and guidance to help them complete a task that they can't do yet independently by themselves. So what is an example in my childhood where you use the method of scaffolding?
Okay, so I would say, like, it's a lot of things that I help you guys do. Like, I would say, like, number one, tying your shoes. Once you tie your shoes, you're gonna always know how to tie your shoes. Riding a bike. Once you ride a bike, you're gonna always know how to ride a bike. Helping you get your first job, helping you get signed up for school, and just being there, when you needed me.
That's true.
Like anything, I just feel like as a mother, anything that, that was like, if you say, Mom, help me, what do I do? How do I fill out this application? I'm gonna help you. Because as a parent, you're supposed to do that. That's something you're supposed to do. Because if nobody else teaches them, the parent is supposed to teach them how to do them things. And I feel like, honestly, that's how a lot of parents fail these kids these days. Because you're not teaching them what they're supposed to learn.
And not scaffolding them so that they could learn how to do things independently. But before they do it independently, somebody got to show them how to do it. So they can learn how to do it. And be independent. Gotcha. So, how would you describe the way I was affected living in Maryland compared to the way I was affected living in Delaware?
I think that, honestly, I don't really think it was a big effect. I kind of think Delaware was better, but when you lived in Maryland, you was younger. You did get to see your grandparents more because they lived closer. You still attended things at school. Delaware, I felt like is where you grew up more. And I'm not saying as growing up as a kid, I'm just saying grew up as in growing up into yourself. Because that's where you got your first job. That's where you was able to take the bus to get to work. That's where you learned how to be an adult. And that's just how I feel. I feel like Maryland was wonderful to you, but you was a kid. But in Delaware, you did have more opportunities because, you know, in Maryland, like I took y'all everywhere y'all had to go. You wasn't able to be independent at all. Delaware, you were able to be a little bit more independent, especially with y'all going to the School of Tech and you going to school all the way in Wilmington, and like I gave you a little bit more independence, but I feel like that as y'all was growing up, you needed a little bit more independence. And I wasn't very, I can say I wasn't letting them be that independent because I was a little hard on them because I wasn't ready for them to grow up. But at some point in time, I knew they had to grow up, and I had to allow them to take steps to grow up. And you know, to me, I just felt like, okay, I'm gonna let them do it, but let it be baby steps. Because maybe it was a me thing and I wasn't ready for them to grow up. But all in all, I had to let them grow up, and they grew up, and she grew up into a beautiful woman.
Thank you. Yes, I was really glad, like, when I grew up in Delaware, because it was more opportunity to be independent. You know, with the DART bus and all that, because in Maryland, transportation is a little bit harder in Maryland. It's not like Delaware. Delaware is a little bit more accessible with all of that. Like, the DART bus system is really good in Delaware. So,
and then you got friends, and you were able to
it was a better community.
Friends. Yeah, you was able to go to the mall. Also, I would like to say, with you living in Maryland, I think that it wouldn't have been the same opportunities as living in Delaware because of the fact your first job was working at the kids center in the neighborhood that we lived in. And I think that was, you know, you had to be, how old was you guys? Like 14?
16.
Oh, 16. That was y'all's first job. And I feel like that was amazing for you. Because to have a first job and for you to have the first job at the center that you went to as, you know, just growing up, and then you could help other kids, I thought that was amazing. And it helped you learn a lot.
Gotcha. So how would you describe, okay, so what is something that you did when we were babies that helped us with our cognitive development?
So, when y'all were babies, I always had a plan. Like I had everything written down on a board of, so y'all were on a schedule, and the schedule had your bedtime, had your lunchtime, had the time that I was teaching y'all how to talk. It had the time. It had all of your development on it and everything that y'all should do at that time. Yes, I was always on the schedule when it came to you guys. And as of all my kids, I was on the schedule, but I always thought, you know, it always got to be, you got to take some time out to have mommy and me time, where mommy's going to teach you how to talk, mommy's going to teach you how to walk, mommy's going to teach you all these things that need to be taught. And I do honestly feel like it is a lot of kids nowadays that just watch TV and the parents are letting the TVs teach them. That's not how these kids learn. The kids do not learn by the TV just teaching them. Yes, Miss Rachel is great, but I feel like that we need to sit down you have to sit down with your children, and you have to physically teach your kids how to do all these things.
I do agree. I feel like you got to be more
active,
personable. You got to be in person with it.
Yes.
In the moment with it. Not
because who better to teach your children than you?
Live that. I do agree with that. So, as babies, in what ways did you help us with our gross motor skills?
Like, so, yes, tummy time was a thing, but tummy time was at a certain time. It was always scheduled. Tummy time was at a certain time. As far as your walker, you guys were, you know, you would put in your walker for a certain time, but then I would take you out your walker, and then I would have this little thing that you can push, and then you will push that, or I'll stand you up against the cabinet, and we'll have time, and we'll take like an hour of getting and learning how to walk and stuff like that.
And in what ways did you help us develop our gross motor skills?
So when you guys were kids, so number one, y'all was in a lot of things. Like I would make sure y'all would do a lot of sports and stuff, but I also would get outside and run with y'all. I would flip with y'all. At that time, as y'all being kids, remember, I could still do backflips. So I would get outside, I would flip with y'all, and I would and we would have like, we would race each other. Like that to me, that was you know, helping y'all stay healthy. That was also, that was a fun way, making y'all tired, but that was showing y'all that, you know, it's important. It's very important for your health, and it's very important to stay, you know, to keep your exercise up.
Gotcha. Yes, we always spend time outside.
Yes, we always spend time outside.
Doing different activities. Okay, so this is the final question. So for my final question, I'm going to ask, how do you think having 4 siblings affected my social development?
Honestly, I think it helped your social development. And it's the reason why I say that, because a lot of kids they're the only child, it's kind of hard for them to talk to people. It's kind of hard for them to make friends. In your instance, I felt like you was just shy. You was shy, but once you got out there, and I was like, Dominique, you can make friends. You can have 1 million friends. And you started talking to people, then you ended up with a lot of friends. And it's like, but I feel like your brothers and sisters help you with that, because they was like, you got friends. You're the sweetest person in the world. You can have friends. And I feel like they help you with that, because it was easy to talk to them. And you even seen their friends come around, like even your oldest sibling, you seen their friends come around. It was easy for you to make friends with them. Like, I just think that was very helpful. And I think that, and I'm not downing people that only have 1 kid, but I'm just saying, like, it is more easier, but did y'all get in little arguments? Oh, of course you did. Who doesn't? When you've grown up with siblings, I'm one of 8. So I do know that, but I feel like it's a lot easier too, because it helps you open up and it helps you understand people. And I also feel like it helped you, and you was very sweet to people. Like, you would do anything to help anybody. And I think that was the sweetest thing, and you was always like that with your siblings too.
Also, I guess, how did it affect me, like my social skills? Like, how do I communicate now since I had siblings?
I feel like you are a great communicator. As far as communication, you're a great communicator. And I feel like you was, like back when you was younger, you was a little shy at communicating. And I'd be like, say how you feel. Like, say it. But I feel like as you grew up, you had to grow into yourself. Like that you work well with others. But I do feel like you work well with others because you've had 4 siblings. You've experienced 4 different attitudes. 4 different, perspective. And you've done that. So I feel like as you growing up and dealing with other people outside in the real world, instead of just in your home, it made it easier for you, because you can see and you can understand different perspectives of different situations.
And that wraps up our interview. So I want to thank my mom for letting me interview her.
You're welcome. And thank you for interviewing me.
Aw. Well, and that's about it, y'all. So I guess we could say bye to the people.